Groundbreaking vaccine shows 75% immune response in Phase 1 trial, paving the way to eradicate breast cancer. Overview of the breakthrough. On June 7, 2025, Anixa Biosciences, in collaboration with the Cleveland Clinic and funded by the U.S. Department of Defense, announced a significant breakthrough in breast cancer research. A pioneering vaccine has demonstrated a remarkable 75% immune response in a Phase 1 clinical trial involving 35 women primarily diagnosed with the aggressive triple-negative breast cancer (TNBC). This development is being hailed as a potential game-changer in the fight against breast cancer, which affects approximately 1 in 8 women globally. The Phase 1 clinical trial. The primary objective of the trial was to evaluate the vaccine's ability to both prevent and treat breast cancer. Participants underwent periodic blood tests to measure antibody production, specifically targeting alpha-lactalbumin, a protein generally absent in women except during pregnancy and breastfeeding. This unique characteristic makes it an ideal target for a vaccine designed to differentiate between healthy and cancerous cells. The only significant side effect reported was mild irritation at the injection site, indicating a favorable safety profile for the vaccine. Dr. Amit Kumar, CEO of Anixa Biosciences, expressed optimism about the vaccine's potential, suggesting that it could play a crucial role in eradicating breast cancer by 2030, similar to the eradication of polio. Innovative mechanism of action. One of the most compelling aspects of this vaccine is its innovative mechanism. Traditional cancer vaccines typically target proteins that are present in higher concentrations on cancer cells, which can lead to the immune system inadvertently attacking healthy tissues displaying those proteins as well. The challenge has always been to enable the immune system to recognize cancer cells as harmful without damaging healthy cells. The unique approach of targeting alpha-lactalbumin is a significant departure from standard practices. Since this molecule is largely absent in non-pregnant women, the vaccine has the potential to activate a robust immune response specifically against cancerous cells, reducing the risk of collateral damage to healthy cells. Future directions in Phase 2 trials. With the encouraging results from Phase 1, preparations for Phase 2 of the clinical trial are already underway, slated to commence next year. This next phase will involve a larger participant pool and will explore the vaccine's efficacy across different breast cancer subtypes. Researchers are optimistic about the potential for broader applications, not just for TNBC but for various forms of breast cancer. As they prepare to present their findings to the Department of Defense, the research team is hopeful that federal funding will remain stable despite concerns over budget cuts. The implications of their work are vast, and further trials will be critical in establishing the vaccine's efficacy and safety in a larger demographic. Public sentiment and implications. The announcement has generated widespread excitement and hope among patients and advocates in the breast cancer community. Breast cancer remains the most prevalent cancer among women, and the possibility of an effective vaccine provides a new avenue for prevention and treatment. Media coverage from outlets like the New York Post and AOL highlights the emotional and hopeful sentiment surrounding the vaccine, while also addressing the historical challenges faced in developing effective cancer vaccines. As Dr. Kumar noted, the promise of the vaccine extends beyond just treatment. It represents a hopeful step toward potentially eliminating breast cancer as a public health concern. The success of this vaccine could not only change the landscape of breast cancer treatment but also pave the way for future innovations in cancer immunotherapy. Conclusion. The breakthrough vaccine developed by Anixa Biosciences in partnership with the Cleveland Clinic marks a pivotal moment in the ongoing battle against breast cancer. With a 75% immune response observed in Phase 1 trials and plans for further investigation, there is cautious optimism that this innovative approach could significantly reduce or even eliminate breast cancer by the end of the decade. The next steps in clinical trials will be critical in assessing the long-term efficacy and safety of this potential game-changer in oncology. With the hope of transforming the lives of millions affected by breast cancer worldwide. The information presented in the clinical trial of a revolutionary vaccine against breast cancer contains several counterintuitive elements that challenge conventional understandings of cancer treatment and vaccine development. Here are the key points. 1. Immunological targeting of cancer. Typically, cancer vaccines have struggled because they often target proteins present on cancer cells that are also found on healthy cells. This dual targeting can lead to the immune system attacking healthy tissues along with cancerous ones. However, this vaccine uniquely targets alpha-lactalbumin, a protein that is generally absent in women except during pregnancy and breastfeeding. This specificity could potentially allow the immune system to distinguish between healthy cells and cancerous ones more effectively than previous attempts. 2. Concept of cancer vaccination. The notion that a vaccine can both prevent and treat cancer is somewhat counterintuitive. Vaccines are traditionally associated with infectious diseases, where they prepare the immune system to fight external pathogens. The idea that one can use a vaccine to train the immune system to recognize and combat a disease that originates from the body's own cells is a significant departure from prevailing thoughts in immunology and oncology. 3. Funding from the Department of Defense. The involvement of the U.S. Department of Defense in funding this cancer vaccine development is also surprising. This connection raises questions about the intersection of military funding and public health initiatives. It suggests that cancer research may be viewed through the lens of national security, particularly as it relates to the health of the population and economic productivity. For long-term vision of eradication by 2030, Dr. Amit Kumar's assertion that this vaccine could potentially eradicate breast cancer by 2030 parallels the success of vaccines for infectious diseases like polio. This ambitious timeline may seem overly optimistic given the historical challenges in developing effective cancer vaccines. The claim that a cancer vaccine could lead to the complete elimination of the disease contrasts sharply with the reality that many cancers remain difficult to treat and manage. 5. Side effects. The only reported side effect being mild irritation at the injection site contrasts with the often severe side effects associated with traditional cancer treatments, such as chemotherapy and radiation. This raises the question of whether the immune response generated by the vaccine may be less aggressive than that induced by conventional cancer therapies. 6. Public perception and historical context. The historical context surrounding cancer treatment is filled with skepticism about vaccine efficacy. The fact that this vaccine has shown a 75% immune response in a small trial may lead to heightened public expectations, which could be counterproductive if subsequent phases do not yield similar results. Historically, public sentiment has often swung between hope and disappointment in cancer treatment advances. In summary, the groundbreaking implications of this breast cancer vaccine highlight numerous counterintuitive aspects that challenge existing paradigms in cancer treatment, vaccine development, and public health funding. The results from the Phase 1 trial are promising. Yet the leap from a small trial to widespread adoption and effectiveness remains a critical area for future scrutiny. The report on the groundbreaking vaccine for breast cancer, particularly targeting the aggressive triple-negative subtype, presents several critical points that may be overlooked by the general audience. Here are the significant aspects and their implications. 1. Targeting alpha-lactalbumin. One of the most significant innovations in this vaccine is its specific targeting of the protein alpha-lactalbumin. This molecule is primarily present during pregnancy and breastfeeding, making it an excellent target for a vaccine aimed at women not planning to have more children. Most vaccines have historically targeted proteins that are also present in healthy cells, which can lead to the immune system attacking both cancerous and healthy tissues. The unique focus on alpha-lactalbumin differentiates this vaccine from others and may minimize adverse effects, a crucial factor in the development of cancer therapies. 2. Potential for eradication by 2030. Dr. Amit Kumar, CEO of Anixa Biosciences, expressed a bold vision of eradicating breast cancer by 2030. This statement is significant as it sets a timeline that could mobilize resources, funding, and public interest towards a common goal. It also reflects a shift in how we view cancer treatment, from management and palliative care to a more proactive and preventative approach. This vision, if realized, could redefine how we understand cancer treatment and prevention on a global scale. 3. Historical context of cancer vaccines. The report mentions that there's never been a successful true cancer vaccine. This historical context is important because it highlights the challenges faced in cancer immunotherapy. Understanding the history of failed attempts can provide insight into why this vaccine represents a potentially transformative approach. It underscores the innovative nature of this research and the significant scientific hurdles that have been overcome to reach this point. 4. Government funding in future trials. The vaccine's development is funded by the U.S. Department of Defense, which may raise concerns about the sustainability of such funding in light of potential federal cuts. This aspect is essential for the future of the vaccine's research and development. Without continued financial support, the progression to Phase 2 trials could be jeopardized, which would delay or potentially halt the project. The reliance on government funding also calls into question broader issues of how medical research is financed in the United States and the implications for public health initiatives. 5. Immune response measurement. The trial measured immune response through antibody production, focusing specifically on TNB cells. This detail is significant because it provides insight into how the vaccine functions at a biological level. The immune response is a critical factor in determining the vaccine's efficacy, and understanding these measurements can inform future research and development. Additionally, the report notes that the only side effect observed was mild irritation at the injection site, a detail that, while seemingly minor, is significant in demonstrating the vaccine's safety profile compared to traditional cancer therapies that often come with severe side effects. 6. Public perception and sentiment. The varying coverage in different media sources reflects a broader public sentiment regarding breast cancer research. The emotional weight of breast cancer, especially in high-profile cases like Angelina Jolie's, influences how advancements in treatment are perceived by the public. This connection can drive interest in funding but can also create unrealistic expectations. The emotional narratives surrounding breast cancer can sometimes overshadow the scientific details, which are essential for understanding the vaccine's true potential and limitations. 7. Ethical implications of targeting specific demographics. The decision to target women who are not planning to have more children raises ethical questions about access and equity in healthcare. Will this vaccine be available to all women, or will it be restricted to a specific demographic? Additionally, how will the medical community address the needs of women who do not fit this profile? These questions are crucial for ensuring that advancements in medical technology benefit a broad population rather than a select few. Conclusion. The vaccine's development represents a significant step forward in the fight against breast cancer, particularly the aggressive forms that have historically been difficult to treat. However, the nuances and implications behind this breakthrough merit careful consideration. The focus on alpha-lactalbumin, the bold eradication timeline, the historical context of cancer vaccines funding, concerns, immune response metrics, public sentiment, and ethical implications all contribute to a complex landscape that extends beyond the initial excitement of a successful trial. Engaging with these deeper issues is essential for grasping the full significance of this medical advancement and its potential impact on public health. 1. Immune response and mechanism of action. The vaccine has shown a remarkable 75% immune response in participants, particularly targeting the alpha-lactalbumin molecule, which is typically absent in women until pregnancy and breastfeeding. This innovative approach allows for a more precise differentiation between cancerous and healthy cells, thus potentially avoiding the adverse effects seen in previous cancer vaccine development that targeted common proteins present on both cancerous and healthy cells. 2. Significance of targeting triple-negative breast cancer. The focus on triple-negative breast cancer, one of the most aggressive and lethal forms of the disease, highlights the vaccine's potential impact on a significant subset of breast cancer patients. Since this subtype does not respond well to many traditional therapies, the development of a vaccine aimed specifically at preventing and treating it could drastically change outcomes for affected women. 3. Future implications and funding concerns. The ongoing development of this vaccine is poised to enter phase 2 of clinical trials, expanding its participant pool and testing efficacy across different breast cancer types. However, concerns about funding, particularly with the U.S. Department of Defense's financial backing amidst potential federal cuts, raise questions about the sustainability of this research and its ability to progress to larger-scale trials. For historical context and optimism for eradication, Dr. Amit Kumar's ambition to eradicate breast cancer by 2030 positions this vaccine within a historical context of medical advancements, drawing parallels to the eradication of infectious diseases like polio underscores the transformative potential of this vaccine. This optimism reflects a broader trend in cancer research towards finding vaccines that can effectively combat cancers which have historically proven challenging to treat and prevent. 1. Smallpox vaccine development. The development of the smallpox vaccine in the late 18th century by Edward Jenner marked a significant milestone in public health. Jenner discovered that milkmaids who contracted cowpox did not get smallpox, leading him to inoculate a young boy with cowpox matter. This practice significantly reduced smallpox cases and eventually led to the disease's eradication in 1980. A triumph in vaccine science that parallels the hope surrounding the new breast cancer vaccine. 2. Polio vaccine. The creation of the polio vaccine by Jonas Salk in the 1950s is another historical case of a groundbreaking vaccine. Polio was a feared disease that caused paralysis and death. Salk's vaccine, which was tested in a large-scale trial involving over 1 million children, demonstrated a remarkable effectiveness that led to a sharp decline in polio cases. The ultimate eradication of polio in many parts of the world illustrates the potential impact of successful vaccine developments, much like the anticipated effects of the new breast cancer vaccine. 3. HPV vaccine. The development of the human papillomavirus HPV vaccine in the early 2000s represents a significant advancement in cancer prevention. HPV is associated with cervical cancer, and the vaccine has been shown to prevent the majority of cervical cancer cases. The widespread vaccination programs implemented globally have reduced the incidence of HPV infections and related cancers, showcasing how targeted vaccines can change the landscape of cancer prevention, similar to the aspirations for breast cancer vaccination. The recent breakthrough in breast cancer research, marked by a pioneering vaccine demonstrating a 75% immune response in a phase 1 clinical trial, presents a transformative opportunity to combat one of the deadliest cancers affecting women globally. Developed by Anixa Biosciences in collaboration with the Cleveland Clinic and funded by the U.S. Department of Defense, this vaccine specifically targets the aggressive triple-negative breast cancer, which has limited treatment options and high mortality rates. Future outlook for the vaccine. 1. Advancement to Phase 2 trials, with promising results from Phase 1. The upcoming Phase 2 trials are set to expand the participant pool significantly. This next phase will not only include women with triple-negative breast cancer but also examine the vaccine's efficacy against other breast cancer subtypes. Researchers anticipate this broader scope will yield valuable insights into the vaccine's overall effectiveness. 2. Potential for regulatory approval. If the Phase 2 trials demonstrate continued success, the pathway for regulatory approval could accelerate. The FDA may prioritize this vaccine given its potential to significantly reduce breast cancer incidence and mortality. If successful, the vaccine could gain approval by the late 2020s, aligning with Dr. Amit Kumar's goal of eradicating breast cancer by 2030. 3. Integration into preventative healthcare. Should the vaccine prove effective, its introduction into regular preventive healthcare for women could become a standard practice, akin to vaccinations for diseases such as HPV and influenza. This could lead to widespread immunization programs targeting women, particularly those at higher genetic risk for breast cancer. For impact on cancer research, the success of this vaccine could catalyze a new wave of cancer immunotherapy research, encouraging scientists to explore other cancer types through similar mechanisms. The innovative strategy of targeting unique proteins like alpha-lactalbumin sets a precedent that could inspire the development of vaccines for various cancers that have historically been difficult to treat. 5. Long-term monitoring and studies. As with any new vaccine, long-term studies will be essential to monitor not only the vaccine's efficacy but also its safety profile over extended periods. Researchers will need to track participants for several years post-vaccination to ensure that no delayed adverse effects manifest and that the immune response remains robust. 6. Public health campaigns and education. Should the vaccine achieve success, significant public health campaigns will be necessary to educate women about its availability and benefits. Addressing potential hesitancies and misinformation surrounding vaccinations will be crucial, especially in communities where vaccine skepticism is prevalent. 7. Economic implications. The vaccine's potential to reduce breast cancer incidence could lead to substantial economic savings in healthcare costs associated with cancer treatment. Fewer cases of advanced-stage breast cancer would alleviate the financial burden on healthcare systems, insurers, and families, translating into broader societal benefits. 8. Ethical considerations and access. As development progresses, ethical considerations regarding access to the vaccine will need to be addressed. Ensuring equitable access for women across diverse socioeconomic backgrounds will be critical to avoid disparities in breast cancer prevention and treatment. 9. Global health impact. If successfully developed and made widely available, this vaccine could alter the global landscape regarding breast cancer. Given that 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer, the implications for global health could be profound, potentially reducing the global burden of this disease significantly. 10. Collaborative research efforts. The collaboration between Anixa Biosciences and the Cleveland Clinic could serve as a model for future partnerships between academic institutions and private companies. Such collaborations might become increasingly common as the need for innovative cancer therapies grows, fostering an environment conducive to rapid scientific advancement. Conclusion. The groundbreaking vaccine showing a 75% immune response in its Phase 1 trial represents a beacon of hope in the fight against breast cancer. The upcoming stages of research, if successful, could lead to the vaccine being a mainstay in preventive healthcare by the end of the decade. With proper funding, ethical considerations, and public health initiatives, this innovation holds the potential to reshape the future of breast cancer treatment and prevention, ultimately aiming for the eradication of the disease as a public health concern. As we look ahead to the coming years, the optimism surrounding this vaccine is not just for those directly affected by breast cancer but for women's health globally.